everyone, my name is Cindy Hamilton. I am the Academic Support Teacher for Houston County Schools. I have been blessed to work with many amazing students and teachers in special education field over the last 12 years. Together with Larissa Beecher, we will be sharing some helpful tips with you today.
Hey everyone, my name is Larissa Beecher and I am the Access GAA Support Teacher with Houston County Schools. I have been working in the field of special education for 14 years. During this presentation, Cindy and I are going to share some tips and supports for digital learning, English language arts, and reading. We hope you find this information helpful. Our contact info will be given at the end of this presentation. If you have any questions, please contact us and we'll be happy to help.
Today's topics will cover digital learning tips, English language arts supports, and story reading supports. Our mission is to support you and your student, ensuring success on this journey into digital learning. Digital learning tips. Tip 1, set up a distraction-free work environment. Away from siblings, try to avoid an area with a TV, away from toys, limited traffic in and out of the room. The best way to promote attention to tasks during digital learning is to reduce distractions. If possible, have a designated work area for your student. You will want to have the tools they may need, such as extra pencils, paper, electronic device, and even a charger, easily accessible in the designated area. When students have to get up because they broke a pencil or their device dies, they often lose focus and may not successfully complete the task they began. To be honest, it isn't always easy to set up a distraction-free environment with everyone at home these days. But reducing distractions the best you can will increase your students' engagement and success in completing their assignments. Tip 2, set realistic goals for each day. Make a plan and stick with it. Now that you've experienced digital learning the past couple of weeks, you may know more of what to expect and what you and your child can expect to accomplish in a day. Make a plan and stick with it. Each day, make a checklist of activities to accomplish. This will be helpful for you and your student. Here are some examples of checklists. If you find yourself sounding like a broken record, stop. Make a checklist for your child. For younger children, it is helpful to add visuals. So instead of repeating brush your teeth, put your clothes away, and make your bed before school every morning, just post a reminder of the things they need to do every day. For the student, this will promote a sense of independence and accomplishment and allow everyone to have a smoother morning. Tip 4, give frequent breaks. Set up a work break schedule, use a timer, incorporate the breaks into the checklist of activities. We all need breaks. Just like adults, kids need to just get up and move for a few minutes after sitting in front of the screen working. Build those breaks into your day. Breaks will actually improve alertness, productivity, and reduce stress. Using a timer is a great way to incorporate breaks. Students will know how much longer they need to work before getting a break, or how long their break is going to last. Here's some examples of schedules. Of course, for younger students, you will need to use a visual schedule. Schedules allow predictability of the day and make transitions smoother.
Another digital learning tip would be for us to give frequent breaks to our students. You can signal breaks by using a timer, verbally telling your students, using first and then visuals, and many other ways. In your work area, make sure there's a space to set the timer or visual if you are using these to indicate breaks. When taking a break during instruction, some teachers call this time brain breaks. On this slide is a visual of different brain breaks. The visual could be used by giving it to your student and allowing them to choose their brain break. You will see the 2 web links below, Move to Learn and Cosmic Kids. These are 2 sites with videos of brain breaks. Once a student has completed their brain break, they would resume working. The amount of breaks a student requires is based on the student and their needs. Some students may require several breaks while working on one task, while others may not need a break at all. Do what is best for your student. Tip 5, have your child work on the most difficult subject first. For example, Emma Grace does not like writing. We always start our day with writing. If she becomes frustrated, we'll take a deep breath. I'll praise her for using capital letters correctly in her writing. I always find a positive for her. I know she's already mastered the concept of using capital letters in the beginning of her sentences, so I build her up to help lower her frustration. Tip number 6 is to give small rewards in short intervals. Every student is going to need some form of reinforcement while learning at home. This is unfamiliar territory for our students. We want to reward them during their digital learning time. We want to make the reward motivating for students. You need to be very clear on how your student will earn the reward. As mentioned in the behavior support webinar, you should be giving positive feedback at a ratio of 4:1. So for example, if you had to speak to your child for getting up out of a work area, you'll need to provide 4 positive recognitions to help change that behavior. Some of the positive recognitions need to be while he's sitting in his work area working. Even if he or she is only sitting for 20 seconds, make sure to acknowledge that they're sitting in their work area. The number 7 tip is to have your child work during hours when supports are available. Your student may need to understand their assignments, or your student may need help understanding their assignments or with technical support. If someone is able to support the student during this time, then they can be successful. Number 8 is to have your child work during hours that are most productive for him or her. In my house, the kids like to have some time when they wake up to move at their own pace, so they do not start school-related activities until about 10. I, however, am an early riser, so I utilize my morning time to work. Work times will vary from student to student. Tip number 9, write down any triggers and share with your child's teacher. Triggers are events or situations that precede a tantrum and/or an outburst. Take note of the time of day this happens, what happened right before the tantrum or outburst, during what activity did the tantrum or outburst happen, how did you respond, and how did the child respond? Share all of this information with your student's teacher. They can help you find insight. The next several slides will discuss English language arts supports. These supports will include tips, activities, and online resources. These are just suggestions and ideas. We want to provide you with information and resources that are easily done at home with little to no prep. If you would like additional information, please contact either Cindy or myself or your student's teacher. We have written 8 English language arts tips for you. These tips are suggestions for you to utilize with your students to foster the development of English language arts skills. Tip number 1. Tip number 1 is to write to your students. Put notes under their pillows, in pockets, on bikes, on the TV, or in any other surprising place. Show your student that writing is fun. This can be a good job sticky note or a page-long letter. Tip number 2, write with your student. Let them see you make mistakes and revise. Let them see that this takes time and that rewriting is something that is necessary. Writing will look different across ages and functioning levels. Some learners may write pages of traditional writing, while other learners will need to cut out images out of magazines or newspapers and use them to tell a story. Tip number 3, encourage your young author to draw and color while illustrating their story. For older students, this allows them to express their feelings. And for younger students, this will increase motor skill development. Some students may draw detailed illustrations. Others will require physical support when drawing, and others may choose presented images when illustrating their writing. Meet your student where they're functioning developmentally. Tip number 4. Praise and supports for their efforts and accomplishments. If they're unable to communicate using their voice, allow them to communicate in their preferred mode of communication. Tip number 5, read to your children at any age. Read books, stories, magazines, comic strips, poems, online stories, online articles. There are so many things you can read to your children. Encourage your student to read themselves. The more children are exposed to other people's writing, the more background they'll have of their own. Again, reading skills will vary from learner to learner. Some students will picture read. Some students may need to be read to, and other students will read text printed in books. Tip number 7, check out local news stations' websites daily. Read the articles. Ask your student to tell you about the article after they read it. Ask them to tell you the main idea and 2 details from the article. If your student is unable to verbally tell you about the article, give them 2 choices and ask them which is correct. Tip number 8, have your child write in a journal daily. Just allow them to write for fun. Writing can be done with words, drawings, and other pictures. Sometimes you can cut those pictures out of magazines and newspapers. The next 2 slides will discuss little to no cost English language arts activities that can be home. The first activity is to write letters to family members, friends, or even themselves. The next 2 slides will discuss little to no cost English language arts activities that can be done at home. The first activity is to write letters to family members, friends, or else that can be opened years from now. You can even write a letter to a neighbor or someone else who lives in your household. You can also encourage kids to write by having them create their own journal. They can write daily events, share their feelings, or you can provide a prompt for each day's writing. Some examples of prompts are, my favorite game is, if I could invent something, it would be, why is it important to share with others? If I won $1 million, I would. Even young kids can participate by drawing pictures. Encourage your child to illustrate and write their own book. It can be about their favorite animal, sports team, or even a fictional story. It could be a short story or a chapter book. Just encourage them to write and illustrate. You could also have your child write a script for a play and even make props using household items. Family members can participate and become actors. You can watch a movie after reading a book and then discuss the similarities and differences between them. These are just a few suggestions of little to no cost English language arts activities that can be done at home. This slide contains online resources focusing on English language arts. Your student has probably accessed several of these websites throughout their time at school. The sites under the ELA games are games that are interactive for a wide range of ages. They focus on ELA skills such as, but not limited to, sight words, spelling, ABC order, metaphors, homophones, and so much more. The Create a Story Online sites allow your learner to create their own stories. The online writing games provide your student with writing prompts. For example, your sister loves cats. They also provide your learner with writing games and tools to write a story. We would encourage you to preview these sites yourself or view these sites with your student. You can choose particular sites or skills for your student to work on during this digital learning time. These two apps are available on the Apple App Store. If your student has difficulty communicating, these apps can assist. The Yes/No app displays the words yes in green and no in red. The student can use the app to answer questions. The Let Me Talk app is a free AAC talker app supporting communication in all areas of life and therefore providing a voice for everyone.
Story reading supports. Tip number 1 is have fun reading together and sharing stories. The most important tip we can give you is to have fun. Make reading enjoyable. Read with silly character voices to match the book. Act out the story or share your favorite childhood story. This time together is not only an opportunity to learn, it is a special time that promotes bonding. Tip 2, reading increases language development, both receptive and expressive. This helps to increase your child's ability to understand language and greatly will improve their communication skills. When you or your child is reading a book, these are some questions in tip 3 that you will want to ask them. Who is the main character? What is the problem of the story? Where does the story take place? When did the problem get solved? And various why questions. Also, you would want to ask, what happens at the beginning, the middle, and the end of the story? The ability to sequence events in a text is a key comprehension strategy, especially for narrative text. Sequencing is also an important component of problem solving across subject areas. Discussing a story is crucial to improving a student's comprehension. Tip 5, have your child jot notes as they read. Especially for upper elementary and older students, this is a great strategy to improve comprehension while reading a text. It can be a quick sticky note, or they can keep a notebook next to their book and jot notes as they read. Tip 6, encourage your beginning reader to follow along with his or her finger on the words while reading to build word recognition. This also encourages spatial recognition, so students realize that we read from the top of the page to the bottom and from left to right. Tip 7, take turns reading a sentence each or a page each, sounding out unfamiliar words. If a child doesn't know the word, help them sound it out. If your child is struggling to read, share with them a time you struggled with something, reassuring them that it will become easier. It is important to make reading a positive experience. Tip 8, allowing students to listen to audiobooks increases comprehension and vocabulary. This is a great way to reach reluctant readers and get them excited about reading. Often, audiobooks allow students to listen to a higher level text than they would be able to decode and read. This exposes them to great vocabulary and allows them to focus on understanding the story. Several websites highlight text as the narrator reads, providing a multisensory reading experience. Tip 9, don't be afraid to read the same book again. Repeated reading helps build reading fluency. It may get old to us, but if they love it, let them read it again for the 4,568th time. Tip 10, don't forget to compliment your child. One major goal is to build confidence. So find something in every reading experience to compliment. Make it a positive, fun experience, and the goal is really to instill a lifelong love of reading in your child. Story reading tips. So the two visuals, the one first of the hand, your student may already know how to use their hand to retell a story. So the thumb reminds us to talk about the characters in the story. Your next finger, of course, would be the setting, which is where the story takes place. And then you would want to ask them about the problem in the story, events leading up to the solution, and how that problem was solved. The heart and the palm of the hand reminds us to make connections to the story. So, have you ever experienced something similar maybe to the main character in the story? Or how does this text make you feel? How do you think the character felt? This is just an easy way to remember the elements of a good story retell. The next visual, reading is thinking. Some of these work better for older students, but the visualize is one that we can all use. It's a great comprehension strategy. So as you're reading to your child, stop and ask them to create pictures in their mind or to tell you what they see as you read. Also, predicting. Stop and predict what will happen next in the story. These are all great strategies to improve comprehension while reading. Listed here are some story reading activities that can easily be implemented into your day. All these will help your student develop a love of reading and hopefully become lifelong learners. Story reading online resources, we included some audible text supports. So Rivet is a great website or app for kids, and it does highlight the text as it reads the story aloud to them. There's also other great resources listed that you would want to use. When it becomes too much, and sometimes it does for all of us, your child may be frustrated or tired, it's okay to take a break. Utilize a calming strategy. So in the poster, you will see several different ways that students can learn to self-calm. They might want to breathe deeply, or go get a sip of water, or draw a picture. Anything to give their brain a break and overcome their frustration. Or you might want to use some of the following calming strategies. Taking a walk, counting to 10, close their eyes, listen to music. All these will help your student self-calm and finish their day.
Next Monday, May 4th, we will be releasing a recording that focuses on math support. We hope that you will find the recording helpful. It will be posted on the HCBE Special Education e-resource page. If you have any questions or need support, our contact information is listed on the slide. You can email Cindy at cindy.hamilton@hcbe.net or myself at larissa.beecher@hcbe.net. We know that you are working tirelessly at home to support the digital learning, and we appreciate everything you are doing for your student or students. Thank you for listening.